This is an HP Squidgy Bow. I mean an HP DQ42 and just a random bunch of letters and numbers. I'll put it on screen. I don't know why HP call these laptops just meaningless letters and numbers, but this is an HP. Some websites call it a Pavilion, and it's a budget laptop. And it basically this one has an Intel Pentium Gold 7505 processor in it. And you can get slower processors in these systems, but it's got a 120 gigabyte nVMe, which means that it's pretty quick. Here are the read speeds, 1403. It's currently doing a load of Windows updates. It hasn't been connected to the internet for a while, so the write speeds are low as it's doing other things. The temperature seems to be okay, currently at 66 maximum, averaging around 50. And this Pentium Gold 7505 is a dual core processor with 4 threads, and the system has 4 gigabytes of RAM in single channel mode, DDR4 3200. It's got a slot 2 option in CPU Z, but there's nothing there, and I guess that's the main issue. Well, one of the problems with this is only 4 gigabytes of RAM. So if you try and load a load of different applications, that might be a reason why it slows down. But otherwise, the processor is actually quite competitive. Intel Pentium Gold 7505. It's similar to an i5 3570K, which is a 4-core processor. And they run at roughly similar-ish speeds, although you can overclock this one. But the power usage is 15 watts for this Intel Pentium Gold. So battery life on this should be quite good, and is quite good. It's from 2021. The power usage is over here, and it's using 23 watts at the moment. And if we go to Task Manager, it's still got a lot of updates to do. It's using 3.5 gigabytes of RAM and lots of Wi-Fi download, etc., because it's still updating Windows and various other applications on here. But I thought we could have a quick look at this laptop and see what's inside and see if it can be upgraded, what sort of slots, if any, are in there. And yeah, I'll shut this down and show you inside the laptop. The Windows install, it's Windows 11, and there's still 60 gigabytes free of space, so that's quite good. Or rather, it should take a while to run out of space, basically. So this laptop uses the same connector as the HP Stream charger, 45 watts. And on the underneath or underside or bottom, there's a few different screws dotted around, and then there's also screws underneath this rubber cover. On the side, we've got the power connector, HDMI, 2 USB fast. We've also got USB-C and a headphone jack. The frame for the screen looks a little bit like it's come loose or been glued back on at some point or come off. And on this side, we've got an SD card reader, which is full size, but you can see there's a slight crack in the frame there. On the back, there's not much, but there is a vent for the fan, and that's about it. It's quite light, feels relatively well made for the price. And speaking of price, these can be bought for about £100 to £130. There's quite a lot of flex, but the keyboard's quite good to type on. And you've got the function keys at the top and a separate power button here. The trackpad is quite large, or large-ish, but sort of does seem a little bit too easy to click at times. So again, I prefer using a mouse with this. So let's have a look inside. So there are 2 rubber strips. This one at the back is quite a lot thicker than the one at the front. and it can be tricky to pull up. But this one, when you pull it up, the stickiness seems to stay on the rubber. And then this one, when you pull this one up, the stickiness seems to stay on the actual laptop. And then we'll start removing these screws. Some different sizes to pay attention to. Silver one here. And there's some along this front bit here that's angled, and one more under here. Now that all the screws are out, we're going to flip it over and then see how we get inside. Okay, so this is just a case of getting a pry tool in between the sort of frame and the top, and the top bit will sort of flex up, as that's most likely plastic, this top section. Okay, so actually what we've got is this back coming away rather than the motherboard staying inside there. Okay, and eventually once you've sort of got under these bits near the hinge, this will just come away. This is the kind of tray, and then it is plastic. Looks kind of like there's been some kind of water in this area. Looking at this section, don't know where that's going to be from. And then, yeah, you can sort of see this. I'll zoom in a little bit. So you can see here there's sort of like a little bit of water damage here. But we have got a space for a full-size nVMe here in this socket with a screw here. We've also got 2 memory slots. I didn't sort of expect that. I was kind of expecting the memory to be soldered onto the motherboard. So that should be easy to upgrade if I've got some spare DDR4 RAM. The processor is going to be under here with the cooling system here. And then we've got a Wi-Fi adapter here, as well as the battery at this section. There's another sort of section over here. And this is actually, apart from this looking like there's some kind of water damage on this side, this actually looks like quite an upgradable system. In fact, there's a section here that looks like it would have potentially been where an SSD drive would fit. However, this system's got all of this structure here, so one wouldn't fit there, but there's, you can see where the potential is. Yeah, and this is the battery plugged in here, and then the power connector is down here. So it looks like this can actually be removed if this is damaged. I'm not sure if you can power it over USB-C. I haven't tried that yet. But I think I'll give this a clean with some alcohol spray. This is the memory. PC4 3200, 4 gig. And I do have some more, so I'll put this in here so that we've got 8 gigabytes of RAM, and then it's also running in dual channel. Okay, so I just need to put this back together. I switched it on briefly to check that this extra memory worked. And I'll give this a little bit of a clean in here as well. I'm pretty sure I might have replaced the thermal paste on this previously, but I didn't video it, so I can't remember. But if the temperatures were sort of higher, I would take the time to reapply fresh thermal paste for this laptop. So I'm just going to put the screws back in. The screws are back in, and then I just need to put these back on. But this can be a bit tricky if these have stretched while taking them off. The one on the back is fine, but this one I need to sort of try and encourage to sort of shrink a little bit. You can kind of encourage it to sort of fit. I think that'll do for now. Okay, so we're back in Windows. We've now got 8 gigabytes of RAM, and the memory is hopefully running in dual channel mode. Let me just check. So yeah, we've got 2 times 64-bit. If we run a quick bench, we're getting 1100 multi-thread speed on CPU-Z. It is also still doing some Windows updates, so this may not be as fast as it can go. But overall, this laptop, for the price, if you can get this for about £100 or £130 on eBay or other retailers, then this is not actually too bad. I mean, it's quite a nice little laptop. It's got a fairly bright screen, it's got a nice keyboard, it's got a decent number of ports as well as SD memory card reader, and it's upgradable. You know, if I put in 2 8GB sticks of memory, we'd have 16 gigs of RAM. The nVMe can be upgraded, so that's also good. And yeah, for the price, this is a decent little laptop. It sort of feels like it's metallic or got a metal build, but even though it is plastic. But yeah, I think this does a good enough job. And it's definitely better than some of these laptops that can't be upgraded. So if you found this interesting, thanks for watching, and see you in another video. Here's the read speed, 2377. I can't seem to get very good write speeds. I don't know why. I think it stopped a lot of the Windows updates, but the fastest I've got here is 140 megabytes a second. I might try some more, but yeah, I'm not sure why that's so slow. Here's WebGL Aquarium. We're getting 60 frames per second. 1,000 fish, 5,000 fish, 10,000 fish, 15,000 is when it starts to sort of slow down a little bit. And here is Quake 3 Arena. and that was 408 frames per second. If I wasn't doing things in the background, that would have probably been a little bit quicker. I think we're still doing some Windows updates, and the Crystal Disk Mark was running. So there we go. Nice little laptop. Thanks for watching.